welcome back. And we're moving into our second conversation for this morning as we get an update 1 year after their official launch from representatives of PETAL. And we have with us this morning the president of PETAL, Simone Hill, and the secretary, Ifasina Efunyemi. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
And of course, it has been 1 year since you officially launched, but one of the things I think people don't know is that you'd actually been doing work on the ground for a while before. So let's step back to the origins of PETAL. Simone?
PETAL, we started doing work. I wanted to do work for women of the community to educate them and make them aware of various laws and things like that. And also about letting women know that we all share the same issues. And we do things on sexual reproductive health issues and relationship issues and things like that. And also the first talk was on cervical cancer. So to let women know that all these things affect us and we're not alone.
Yeah.
And this happened 2011 because actually I was invited to that first conversation. I know that because I've been involved in advocacy for a while, working with women's organizations, and particularly I am one of the founders of POWA, which is based in Dangriga. So Simone, knowing my work with women, asked me if I would come to this event that she was having at BFLA, and I went. And it was very informative, so I liked that format that she had set up where you sit there and it's, someone who is a professional, in this case it was Dr. Lavelle Reyes, would be there giving us information, but it also provided that space for dialogue, for exchanges, for sharing of stories, and discussion, asking questions, and I liked that format.
Yeah. So
after that, there were more of these. I mean, I definitely encouraged her to have more of these and told her I would not have come on board if these would not be happening also out in other areas of the country, because too many things happen in Belize City. They're so Belize City centered, but the issues are affecting people everywhere in the country. And so it is important for organizations, if they're going to truly make a meaningful impact, that they reach everywhere that people are.
Yeah. Now, the organization promoting empowerment through awareness obviously gives you your mandate, but you're working with a specific population, and that's for women who identify as lesbians or bisexuals. Now, we're still in a society where perhaps the level of acceptance is not where you'd like it to be. And it makes it even more difficult for people to identify with a sexual orientation outside of what is typically considered the norm. Since the establishment of the organization, what has it been like to get women to associate themselves with PETAL and come out to your different activities?
Initially, women were not coming out as much as we would like them to, but I think that is the experience of a lot of organizations, because you have this bright idea that there's some service that needs to be provided for women. I can tell you that even when POWA was being established, we had sometimes where women weren't coming, and people don't come out for many reasons. But we have found that over the years of ensuring that we have the conversations as regularly as possible. Now this year, coming from 2011 to now, I mean, the last conversation we had on the 8th with Attorney Dolores Balaramas Garcia and dealing with the Domestic Violence Act, the room was packed to capacity. So we have really come a long way in terms of getting women to come out to these activities, because now they know that there is a space that they could come to. There's all this information available for them. They can feel comfortable in that space, because maybe other organizations or entities, government or non-government, have been providing these opportunities, but maybe women who we cater to did not feel welcome in those spaces. So now that we have created that kind of space, more and more of them know about PETAL and come out to our activities. So we have seen a gradual and very successful improvement in the turnout.
Now, Simone, you're also a part of the executive for UNIBAM, which is also a human rights organization, but one for the LGBT community. What about your experience there made you realize that there had to be a group with specialized focus for women? What are the differences in the issues from the general community versus specifically just the women in the community?
Well, one of the things, Marlene, at UNIBAM is that it's not focused a lot on programmatic events. And so I saw the need to focus for lesbian and bisexual women because their needs were not being catered to in a large way. And I went out and asked a few women if they believe that an organization is needed to cater to their needs. And they were positive. They were, yes, we need something. So it's like moving from that and having the support of the organization UNIBAM, supporting that aspect of the women's movement.
So where UNIBAM is more advocacy focused, you are more direct contact with people.
Precisely.
In terms of awareness and education activities.
Precisely, and also to allow, one of the things is to see that women get educated and become aware of laws, because there are laws that would need to be tweaked or changed, so as to come directly as a citizenship and for the rights of women who you're finding out are cohabitating. And so it's to have those women eventually take charge to be a part of when anything is taken to the court, like we saw Section 53, and you want to see more people coming out, and also to let the powers that be see that when you're standing there, you have people behind you because they have been educated and they have been made aware of what are the issues and things like that, so they feel like they have a vested interest in it.
Now, with the expansion of your reach, meeting more and more people, or more and more women specifically through your work of the organization, what are some of the emerging issues, perhaps that have been under the radar that you're now getting the chance, one, to know is taking place, but also to hopefully direct your work towards?
One of the things we had observed initially, a couple of years ago, we were dealing with this because there was the illusion in the face of, for example, HIV and other STIs, there was the illusion that lesbian and bisexual women were not as vulnerable as other women. And so we saw the necessity to educate women about that. Now, you know, discussing sexuality tends to be so taboo in our society, but the issues that come as a result of our sexuality, our sexual behavior, those things affect everybody. Entire families are affected by those issues. And people may judge as much as they want to. At the end of the day, when you have a health issue, it's everybody's business. And how will we address these issues? So we would have conversations around sexual and reproductive health, because also a lot of the women have children. And so clearly, I mean, if you have children, you had to do something to have children. So that means that there's the level of vulnerability there. And we want women to have that consciousness about your body and taking good care of it. So that's one of the issues that we have had multiple conversations on, sexual and reproductive health. And we've also looked at gender-based violence, because again, people think that those issues are limited to a particular group of people. But anywhere in the world, once you are a woman, you're going to be affected by that, unfortunately, but that is the reality. And so we wanted to also bring that to the consciousness of the women that we serve. So we've had multiple conversations on gender-based violence as well. And when we did the needs assessment last year, one of the things that when we asked what topics would you like covered, a lot of the women wanted relationship issues to be addressed. Even though so much of them were cohabiting, the bottom line is they wanted to strengthen the relationships that they had. That was important to them. And so looking at that now, there's the issue of the custody of children, and also the issue of social security and the coverage for women. If you're in the same, if you're in a home, you've been living together for so many years, you're bringing income into that household, and then one of you unfortunately passes away, then what are the rights of that partner that has been there to support for you for all of these years? Is it just that a family member now, a biological family member can now just step in and take over? And what happens to the children in that situation? So the more we hear about these experiences, the more we know, okay, this is what we need to advocate for and see change so that women can feel more secure in the relationships that they're in.
Absolutely. You know, and I recall the last time you were here, perhaps 1 year ago, where you spoke about even facing issues of discrimination. You know, I believe the very real example was given of being evicted because the landlord began to realize that perhaps you weren't roommates, you were actually, the couple was actually together.
Yes.
And, you know, I think that really does raise red flags because there is no basis for them to be able to do so. And it definitely shows where, while not very overt, they're not saying you need to leave because of X, Y, and Z, you know. Now, how do you tackle those types of issues that stem from a discrimination standpoint?
I'm glad that you brought it up because, again, in the needs assessment, women identified the experiences with discrimination. And most of this was happening in the workplace or in public spaces.
Yeah.
Women were dealing with discrimination and weren't sure exactly how to address those issues. I mean, there were some women, like with all women, either if you are socialized to be aggressive, strong, assert your rights, then you do that. But a lot of women are socialized to be calm and docile and passive. And so they try to just avoid confrontation and things like that. But that has led to women also facing violations of their rights because it means that being in a workplace where people are slandering you, they're defaming your character, they're being discriminatory against you. Those things are not, our constitution does not support that. So educating women about their rights. Yeah. In fact, with the support of UNIBAM, we had a series of conversations on stigma, discrimination, and human rights to bring that to the consciousness of the women that we serve that, hey, if people are doing this to you, this is not correct, this is not acceptable, and you have a right to stand up for yourself. And these are the grounds, because you just have to look at the constitution that we're blessed to have in this country and maximize the use of it. Yeah. Also looking at the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So I facilitated a lot of those sessions to just get women conscious about their rights, what their rights are as citizens of this country. Yeah.
You wanted to add something?
No, I'm just thinking about also, we think of the children of these women, and it was a fantastic thing to see. This past Sunday we had a family day. In keeping with the theme for Idaho, love makes a family. And one of our members had wanted to see that that children realize that there are other children who are living in the same type of families like they are. And so we brought them together on Sunday to go to the Keys and to have fun activities with them and letting the children interact and the parents interact with their children and things. And so it was a wonderful experience, and we got the feedback right away from them. I mean, being there and doing some of the games, some of the mothers were being boxed out by the mothers, by the ones who weren't mothers. They wanted to play the games with the children and things like that. So that's just the beginning, and it's always, Marlene, and for the viewers out there, that we exist, we're human beings. I remember many years ago I had been on television and had did a take with Janelle, and we are human beings, we are citizens of this country, and it's just to have the rights as a human being in this country of Belize where we are living. I love this country. I don't want to ever leave this country again to be anywhere, but I just would like my rights to be respected and things like that. And I do not think that it is a lot to ask of anyone, the powers that be, and the average citizen, because we are all facing some type of injustice or discrimination.
what of the issue of sexual harassment? Because that's, I mean, it's difficult to women across the board in Belize, but we also know that women who identify as lesbian or bisexual tend to have to endure more sexual harassment than others.
I can talk about that because, you know, being in a male-dominated job for a while, being in security, things like that, you see that sometimes women who they perceive are a lesbian, men tend to attack them verbally, and like they want to call them babes and sweetness, and we see this across the board with women, you know, and so they whenever they want to assert themselves, the women, they get these backlash and continuous harassment.
I believe that a lot, again, there's the level of ignorance in that people don't know enough about the laws. And what we've found is that the more we've had these we've had a legal consultation that was well attended, that did not only cater to lesbian and bisexual women, but any woman could have come to that. We had that in 2015, and then this year we had the Women's Forum, and we had very learned personnel there. We had Michelle Irving from POWA and the Women's Department. We had the special envoy there. We had Attorney Balaramas Garcia, as well as Lisha Schumann, Attorney Senior Counsel Schumann. So these were all opportunities to highlight, again, the laws that exist, and the fact that as women, we definitely need to work together to address these issues because they're very, very serious. Plus, we as women are raising children. And the behavior that we see in, especially males, those are things that women can have some say in changing. So, yeah, unfortunately, boys are growing up in this society where they're seeing adult men behaving a particular way, but that is something that women can change by informing their sons, their nephews, their neighbors, you know, this is not the way to behave. So that also is a start. That's why we say we're promoting empowerment through awareness, because the more information people have, once people are informed and they can use that information to change the way that they live their lives, that's how we're going to make that impact, because it's going to change how people operate across the board. It doesn't matter how they identify. The information is open for everybody so that we can make a better world. That's the bottom line.
Now, you're a young organization, and obviously you're establishing your role and where you are able to cater to the needs of women, or women who identify, women in general, or women who identify as lesbian and bisexual. What do you envision to be the hallmark of PETAL, whether in a specific organization or a specific topic?
The conversations that we have are that's our lifeline, basically, because all that way, Simone insisted, no workshop.
No
workshop
forum.
is just so work related, like it just seems so burdensome when you hear the word workshop. Although we have had workshops, we have, but conversations are so much more informal, more casual, more comforting. So people don't mind coming to engage in a conversation. So we have, fortunately, with the support of COC Netherlands, we've had support from various entities. The Caribbean Vulnerable Communities Coalition, CVCC, was a major supporter of PETAL. In fact, last year when we launched, Dr. Gomes, she was the person who was our guest speaker at the launch. But this year we've been fortunate also to come in contact with COC Netherlands, and they have supported us being able to have conversations every single month. Our partnership with other organizations has also been a major plus for us, working with BFLA, working with POWA, working with UNIBAM, of course, and other LGBT organizations as well as non-LGBT organizations has really, really pushed PETAL forward, because we want to establish that this is a community. In terms of CSOs, we're a community. We're all maybe focused on a particular thing here and there, but we are still trying to make this world a better place. So we're working with the Cancer Society, for example. We're going to support the Cancer Walk. So we've bought shirts and we're going to be a part of the walk. We work with Power. We actually had this major accomplishment this year was the Women's Forum on International Women's Day. It brought so many powerful women together, and we had like 150 women from around the country at the Biltmore, and learning about the women's movement, how far we've come, and what needs to be improved, what are the changes that need to be made, areas of advocacy that we need to focus on. And so the rest of the year now, the conversations will be looking more at those issues, which is why we had Attorney Balaramos Garcia talking about the Domestic Violence Act in more detail. So those are the things that are strengthening our activism, our advocacy, not only in ensuring that we reach the women we're trying to reach, but also reaching other organizations that are doing work for the people of Belize.
What about age groups? What age groups do you primarily work with at this point?
Well, it's so funny because one of the things is I always, it's a women's organization, so people look at what happened to youths. But we are working with young women in Belize. I look at it in Belize, when you're an adult, it's 18 years and older. And the world look at it at 18 to 29 youth. So we're working with young women and also older women. And we have been blessed that older women have found us, or we have found them, and they have been so excited to come out and be a part there. Some of them are regularly attending the conversations to be more informed, and also to be around younger people. And it is like when you're listening to older people speak about something, and to see where they were and where you are today. That's a huge thing for me, and also for people within the LGBT society.
So I'm glad you pointed that out, that you're bringing in people of different age groups. And Ifa, you talked a bit about the success of the Women's Forum that was held. What are some of the hallmark moments or the milestones that you were able to accomplish within the first year that you hope you can build upon in the future?
The needs assessment, I have to say, because it's all about data.
It's evidence,
Yes, evidence. And we were able to speak to 50 women from around the country. In total, we spoke to like 56 women, or 57 thereabouts, because we also did a focus group session. And this was to find out what was going on in their lives. That's why I can tell you, in terms of stigma and discrimination, they told us that they were experiencing that, and I could tell you that it was mostly in the workplace, because we asked about that. Where did you experience the discrimination? This is something we want to build on. Research is so lacking in this country. There's always room for more research, so that we would have facts to say, these are the issues that are actually happening in people's lives, and these are the needs that need to be met. So when we did the assessment, it was like 51 questions we were asking. We were finding out how educated were these women, and most of them had finished high school. We had 14 of them that had finished tertiary level, and these were women who identified as lesbian and bisexual women. They were living, 21 of them, 26 actually, were living with a female partner. 21 of them had children. So this information now helps us to really tailor our program to what they really need. This is why the conversations now have been focused on strengthening, for example, relationships, because clearly if women are living with families, children, they want better relationships to secure that family structure. So we are focusing a lot on that. We also have a paraprofessional training going on, because psychosocial support is very important for every one of us. People think that mental health issues are only for those who are quote unquote crazy
or deeply troubled.
Yes, but we can all be deeply troubled if we do not have a support system to handle stress. And any of our jobs could be stressful for us, or not having a job could be stressful for you. Dealing with people could be stressful for you. So all of us need to have something in place to keep us together, so we don't go off over the cliff. So we're fortunate to have on our team a licensed mental health counselor, Kiana Brindle. She's a volunteer with PETAL. We've been providing services to women. They can come to our office and they can receive counseling. We've had this paraprofessional training. It's still going on actually. It will end on June 3rd. And this is providing people of the community, but even non-LGBT, a lot of actually non-LGBT persons are participating in this training. And this is so that there are more people in Belize that have some knowledge, some basic knowledge of how to provide psychosocial support, or even to refer people to where they can get the psychosocial support that they need. So that is a major plus for us this year.
So do we see PETAL challenging or tackling the issues regarding cohabitating couples and parental rights of cohabitating couples?
Yes, because those are coming up a lot in the conversations that we're having. When Attorney Balaramas Garcia was with us, so many things came up, wills and how to secure your resources once you pass away, what you need to do in order to protect your family and things like that. So we intend actually to have a follow-up conversation on those issues specifically. So each time we have an event, we ask our participants what they liked about it and what they would like for us to do, what other thing. And we're also going to other areas of the country, it's not only Belize City.
So 1 year later, tell me from your own personal experience, how has your life improved since the rollout of this specific organization with this specific target population? Simone?
Go ahead.
I have to say that because I believe I was born as an advocate too. I mean, if I was born debating with the nurse and the doctors, and you know, being an advocate is just a part of who I am. And so being able to see women improve their own lives, make decisions for themselves, stand up for themselves. I could recall last year we had a member who had an issue with the police, and we were there with her. We took her, she got injured, we took her to the police station and so on. So she had another issue with the police in this year, I believe, and she went on her own. She was on TV, she was addressing the issue by herself. So that to me is a major plus. It's like, okay, you are empowered, you're able to now stand up for yourself, do for yourself. That's, to me, is an achievement. So for me,
those are the results.
That makes me feel good as a person, as an advocate, to see that the people we are serving are actually being able to stand up for themselves.
And for you, Simone?
It's just to see that people are more, women are more hungry for the knowledge, and to see that the work that I started out, that I wanted to see done to educate women like myself, have come a long way, and I want to see it where a politician, when you go to them, will not just look at you and say, oh, you're the only one standing up there, but you have a lot of people behind you along with their families.
Fantastic. All right. Anything else you guys would like to say on the first anniversary of your launch? Closing statement?
I'd like to say thanks to all the people that have supported PETAL thus far, the women that we serve, the women we are yet to serve, those who maybe hear about PETAL but have not yet accessed the services we provide or have not come yet to our activities. We welcome you, and of course our partners, all those organizations, POWER, BFLA, the UNIBAM, of course, all the other LGBT organizations, and everybody who we work with, who support the work that we do. We are thankful. Our funders, of course, I mean, there's so much we wouldn't be able to do without them. So for that, we are grateful, and the people that, our families, of course, our personal families who support us, stand behind us, we are very, very grateful.
All right. Well, thank you guys for stopping in and letting us know what you've been up to. Congratulations on your first anniversary since your launch, and we're sure we're going to be seeing more from you.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Too.
And of course, if people want to contact you, you're on Facebook, so people can find you there. Do you have a phone number that they can reach you at?
607-4865.
All right. Great. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
We're going to go ahead now and take a break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking to representatives of the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Forestry, and the Environment. So stay tuned.